Good morning. We'll try that again. Good morning.
Good morning.
Isn't it a great day in Jackson County? Yay! It is a great day here, and it is my honor as president of the TCAT to welcome you to the Jackson County Instructional Service Center grand opening. Today would not have been possible without many partners, and today you're going to hear from many of the partners. But before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about how today we're sitting here as an educational facility, and we're not here with our golf clubs. Anybody played golf here before? I know several of us have. So several years ago, this was a golf course, and for a couple of years it sat empty. And so in 2015, the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development had a listening tour. And that department went across our state, and they went to various counties to listen to the needs of our rural counties and our metro counties. And one of the things that come out of that listening tour was that they were going to partner with the University of Tennessee Institute for Public Service, and they were going to have asset-based strategic planning. What a wonderful big long word that just means all this, but what does that really mean? What that meant was that there was a group of individuals here in Jackson County that gathered together, and many of them are in the room today. They were leaders, they were educational leaders, they were county commissioners, they were school board members, and they were employers. And they gathered around a table, and it was a brainstorming session. And it was to identify the assets that Jackson County had, and how could they take those assets and expand on them to improve the overall economy here in Jackson County, but more important, to improve the lives of the people living here in Jackson County. To make this, I think on the ECD side it says the best place to live and work. And so during that session, they identified that if they had a higher educational facility located here so that they could train the workforce, that would be an asset that would help this county. So moving forward a little bit, I got a call. And if anybody in this room has ever got a call from Joe Barlow, you have to be a little careful. And so, but I am always very careful when Joe says, I need to talk to you, Myra. I say, okay. So he did say that to me, and I came down, and Joe said, we've identified that we would like the TCAT to be located here in Jackson County. Can you make that happen? I said, well, I don't know. He said, what do you need? And that was the way, what do you need? Let me know. And I said, I've got to have a building. We'd have to have a building to be able to make that happen. And I said, I don't have the funds as a TCAT to be able to build a building in Jackson County. So I like to think that Joe went hunting, and I use that word, hunting. I think there's some of you that were the target of that hunting in this room. I think he asked everybody in Jackson County, do you have a building? Do you have a place? He sent me on a chase with Dr. Gail Myers. Where's Gail? She was the first one, and she and I drove all around Jackson County looking for a building. We went and talked with one of our important partners, Jonathan West with Twin Lakes, and we looked for a building. So I didn't know what was going on in the scene, behind the scenes here in Jackson County, but the next call I got said, I need you to come down here. And I think it was from Deb. Deb said, Mr. Barlow's got to talk to you right away. You have got to call him. And so I did, and he said, I have you a building, Myra. I said, great. So I came down, and the county commission and the school board here in Jackson County made a commitment that they were not going to just brainstorm and talk about an asset. They were going to make that asset happen, and it was action-oriented. They put up and purchased the grounds that we're sitting on, this entire golf course, and what was at that time the clubhouse. Now, if you've been here, it looks quite different today. So we had a clubhouse that had a locker room and had a community room, and it was like, okay, how are we going to make this into programs? But going back to that listening tour, one of the comments that was made by the ECD commissioner at that time and by the assistant commissioner was that those listening tours were not going to be just where they listened to people, but they were going to be action-oriented. And the ECD department, the state of Tennessee, made a commitment. Not only were they going to listen and help them identify the assets, but they were going to get the funding. And they have the asset enhancement grants that the legislators funded for counties to be able to implement those plans. And so Jackson County, and today I think we have a nice beautiful check over here for $50,000, and Jackson County is the recipient of an asset enhancement grant. And with that $50,000, it made it possible for the TCAT Livingston to be able to renovate the building behind me. Now, I could not go any further if I didn't stop and say that it was because of a group of young men in the back of the room, and they have yellow shirts or green shirts, and that's building construction technology. And I just want to say that they transformed this. And Logan was here with me early on, and they were busy every day. They were tearing out walls, and they just took a building that was a clubhouse, and they made it a higher education facility. But again, I want to go back and say that it's not possible without partnerships, but it's also not possible without support from our governor and from our state legislators. And we are so blessed in this state to have a governor and to have state legislators that know that in order for our state to grow and for us to recruit businesses, that we have to have funding, and we have to remove the barriers for individuals to get training. And they've implemented so many programs, Tennessee Promise, Tennessee Reconnect, LEAP, but even this ECD enhancement grant is now a part of education. But because of the money that they allocated for that, we're going to be able to train. So it's my honor to introduce our first guest, someone who loves rural Tennessee, loves all of us, and loves Jackson County, and has worked hard over the years to make sure that we get our part of what we need for our counties. Please join me in welcoming Representative John Mark Wendell.
Good morning, everybody. Morning. It's good to be here, and I'm so excited to be at the first post-secondary campus in the history of Jackson County. Before I get started, I want to introduce a few people, and I'm going to miss somebody, but it's pleasing to me to look out in the crowd and see the chairman of the school board, multiple school board members, our neighbors from Pickett County, our neighbors from Putnam County, Dr. Bell, the county executive, and all the elected officials could be somewhere else today, but we appreciate they're here today. But most of all, before I get started, I want to talk about my friend Joe Barlow. Even beyond what we're talking about today, how many young people have walked through the halls of the school across the street, or in Dodge's Branch, or the grade schools here in Jackson County, and been blessed to have a good education in rural Tennessee, not just because of Joe Barlow, but because he's dedicated his life to education, his leadership has provided people an opportunity that might not have had it but for that. We appreciate you, Joe. Thank you. And I guess since you've got your name on the wall, it means you passed your background check. That might not be a good joke today, but anyway. Let's move past that. And I want to direct my comments to the young men in the back room with the blue shirts. I walked into the classroom a minute ago and talked to the teacher, and I said, men and women, young men and women, and what's this mean to you? And 2 or 3 of them jumped right in and told me what it meant for them. So they know how important this is, and they know what it means for their future. Because and I'm not a fortune teller, but clearly in the not near distant future, we're going to be able to get on a train of some type within a few miles where we're standing. It might be I-40, but it's not going to be far in the future. And people in Nashville, Tennessee, which by the way, thanks to people like this gentleman, the commissioner and other people, his boss, Bill Haslam, it's the fastest growing city in America in the last 50 years, I think that's correct. And because of leadership of he and other people, people in Nashville are going to have the opportunity to come to Jackson County and work every day. And we're going to have the opportunity, that you should have smiled at that, come on, help me out a little bit. But that's what's going to happen. You're going to have the opportunity to step on a train or some type of device in either Jackson or Putnam County and ride to Nashville to work. And they're going to build factories in Jackson County where people are going to work that live in Nashville. Or you're going to get in a car in this parking lot and lay back and go to sleep, and it's going to drive you there, and it's going to be programmed by young men and women that got a degree or a certificate or whatever from this institution. So the future is exciting to me more so than ever, and it's such a beautiful day, and it's such a good opportunity to talk about what the future holds for Jackson County and for education, in particular in Jackson County. But once again, for each of you who have made this happen, and in particular the teachers, I see several teachers here and several principals. We're glad they're here. Mark, we're glad you're here. You've got a lot of leadership for the Upper Cumberland. But I don't want to leave the stage without thanking Myra West. I've had the pleasure of being associated either on the cusp or on the curtilage of 3 or 4 centers like Myra runs. She's by far the best. That doesn't mean they don't have an opportunity to catch up with her at some point in the future. But Myra is a professional, and it's a lot of her leadership went into this, and we appreciate you, Myra, and we're lucky to have you. I know you've got a great future in education, but your impact is felt here today, and we appreciate it very, very much. I think my time's about run out, but thank you very much for having me today, and this is a real opportunity. This is a beginning. I hope that we're going to have a lot more in Jackson County so people can have their education here in Jackson County and either stay in Jackson County or go somewhere else if they choose to, or other people can come here also. But again, it's a wonderful day, and thank you very much for including me to be a part of it. Thanks.
Thank you, John Mark. So our next guest is part of the overall partnership, and that's the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development. And we're very honored today to have the leader of that department. But before I introduce Commissioner Roth, I do want to introduce several people in the audience that we work with on a daily basis from ECD. First, I'd like to introduce Miss Brooksy Carlton. And Brooksy, if you'll stand up, she is the new Deputy Assistant Commissioner for Rural Development. Yesterday, when I was in a meeting and I was supposed to be paying attention, and the teacher's actually here today, I was looking on the website trying to make sure I had everybody's title correct, and I read the caption under Brooksy's department, and I thought it was worth sharing today because it says the core focus is on programs centered on workforce development, technology, tourism, agricultural, entrepreneurship, but it's to ensure that our communities are among the best places in the world to live and work. That's what today's about. We have the workforce development, the education here, we have the technology here, and we have the partnerships. So we're right in line with Brooksy's department. We also have Miss Ann Thompson, who is the Director for Workforce Development. Ann. We have Jenny McKay. Jenny is our new workforce development consultant, and we're looking forward to working with Jenny. We've already been sharing ideas, and she has already said that she would love to come to the Upper Cumberland and see all the great things we're doing, and we're just proud to have Jenny aboard. We have a very special person, or at least one for me, and that's Mr. Logan McCoy. And I have to say just a personal thank you to Logan. He has kindly helped my hand all through this process, and you need one of those people. He was there to answer every phone call. He's been by to visit us during the process and to help us with everything. And Logan, we can't say thank you enough. Two people from ECD that all of us work with on a daily basis, and we couldn't do this without their partnership and their help, and that's our regional directors. And I'd like to introduce Cody Huddleston and Angela Borrego. They are our right hand. They are our winners, and we have a winning team with ECD, Department of Labor, and the educational sector. And we'll share that a little bit later. But at this time, it is really an honor for us today to have the person who provides the leadership for projects like this and provides the leadership for his department, Commissioner Bob Roth.
Dr. West, thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, it is a great day to be in Jackson County, to be in Gainsborough. This is an opportunity for us to actually witness what the great leadership at the General Assembly has provided. And Representative Wendell, thank you very much, because as we look at the process, it doesn't happen overnight. But in the state of Tennessee, with a great leader called Governor Haslam and a great General Assembly, we're able to commit taxpayer dollars to provide resources to do great things like this. And I must say, investing in education may be the most expensive, but the best dollars we can put forth, because at the end of the day, is we recruit companies across the globe, across the U.S. and here in Tennessee. We've discovered workforce development is the it issue. And when we talk about workforce development and we talk about competing with other states, it all comes down to the local community, the love that company has for that local community, and then a workforce that's readily available to provide the services that are required. And what is exciting about this today is for the opportunity to have a higher education facility right here in Gainesboro, the first time. It is historic. So we at ECD, we have a couple of responsibilities, but job one, per the governor's requirement, is to create jobs for Tennesseans. When we say jobs for Tennesseans, we're talking about family wage jobs in the future. That's job one. A part of our responsibility is also to take care of the rural and the communities that don't reside in downtown Nashville. Because I'm reminded every day, and I remind our team every day, there are 94 other great counties across this state. And when you break that down, there are approximately 45 counties that we deem that are more rural and less economically advantaged. And what I love about this program is this is an opportunity to bring additional opportunity to this community. So ladies and gentlemen, I'll just say this, it has been a great pleasure to serve the governor. It's probably equally as exciting to work with a great team of ECD colleagues. And the fun part is, and you were nice to already acknowledge our team, they were here, Dr. West, before I got here, and they'll be here long after. So you're going to be in great hands in 3 months and 10 or 12 days. So let me also just let me also conclude by saying this, because this is very, very important. We have spent a lot of time recruiting companies to Tennessee. And about 3 years ago, the jobs that we recruited through our department, the Department of Economic and Community Development, about 28% of those jobs, Representative, those were jobs that were going to our rural counties. Ladies and gentlemen, that was 3 years ago. This year, year to date, through October 5th, over 50% of the jobs that we have recruited to Tennessee have been in our rural counties. So thank you all. It's great. Thank you to Team ECD. We're so grateful, and we'll look forward to being back and with other great programs to continue the great success. So it's a real treat. So thank you.
Okay, because someone is here that's just like one of us, and I didn't recognize her, and I'm so sorry, but I just kind of consider us, because she's been around, and that's my dear friend Jody Slager, but she is with the ECD team with the 3-star, but Jody's from the Upper Cumberland, and she works with us every day, so she's just kind of like one of our hometown people. Not that the rest of ECD is not, but Jody and I've gone back a long ways, and just a dear friend, but thank you, Jody, and I'm sorry I didn't do that. But the TCAT is part of the Tennessee Board of Regents, the college system of Tennessee, and there's 40 institutions, and so we're very proud to be the first higher education institution located here in Jackson County. We will be offering 2 programs to start out with, one in information technology, and we've already enrolled students. They were enrolled in August before the facility opened. So I want to give a big shout out to Jackson County High School juniors and seniors, IT dual enrolled students. So you all stand, let them see. This is your future workforce for IT and lab. We also will have a lineman program, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the lineman program in just a minute when I introduce another guest, because it's another story. But at this time, I would like to introduce the Tennessee Board of Regents staff that are here with us today. We have with us Dr. Russ Deaton, and Russ, I'll let you come up in just a second. But we also have Kristen Veloff, and where's Kristen? She is our Assistant Vice Chancellor, there's Kristen, for Government Relations. And we also have Dr. Carol Career, and she is the Vice President for Economic and Community Development. And she is the person at the board office that works with us as we work with ECD to make projects happen. So at this time, it's my honor to introduce to you Dr. Russ Deaton, who is the Executive Vice Chancellor for Policy and Strategy. Dr. Deaton.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Dr. West, for the introduction. Hello, Dr. Prier, good to see you. I want to thank you all for having us here today. I bring greetings from the Tennessee Board of Regents, the College System of Tennessee, and our Chancellor, Dr. Flora Tidings, who was unable to be with us today. She sends her best to you. Dr. West talked about partnerships in her intro, and I think that's the theme of today. This facility would not be possible without many different partners and actors in this space. Our state legislators, Representative Wendell and others, his colleagues in the Tennessee General Assembly, who make this facility possible with their funding, who do so much for higher education across our state, particularly these last 10 years. Tennessee is a leader in many aspects of higher education. We go to conferences all the time where other states are asking us, how do you make certain things happen? We point back to our governor and our members of the General Assembly for making these things possible. Your support for Tennessee Promise and Tennessee Reconnect is in part what makes this facility and these systems work. Every adult Tennessean, every high school graduate can go to college tuition free. We thank you for your support there. Our partners too, this has been said a lot today, but it bears repeating, at the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development. Many of them have been introduced today. The Asset Enhancement Grant that made this facility possible. It is extraordinary to have a commitment both at the political leadership level and at the ECD level to make a facility like this happen. Without that, this cannot be possible today. Commissioner Rolfe, thank you. Brooksy, thank you. Ann Thompson, longtime friend, appreciate all you've done to help us at TBR hone in on our mission, which is student success and workforce development. Thanks to the partners here locally too, from Jackson County, Gainesboro, the Jackson County School System, Chamber of Commerce folks, Mayor Hetty behind me, Director of Schools Barlow, Principal Christy Brown. This partnership among all the folks here, again, without your hard work, we would not be here today. President West, of course, tells us that this project evolved out of discussions about the need for a facility in this county to offer post-secondary education to students, both traditional age and adult, to help build the workforce of today and of tomorrow. She mentioned the programs that are offered here today and that will be offered in the future. At the TBR, we hope to expand those. And as funding and needs become available, this is just the start of what will be a wonderful facility. At times like this, I think a lot about my own kids. I have 3 small kids, ages 7, 9, and as of today, 12. I know I'm going to bring it back up, some memento for his birthday, I think, here. And I think somewhere in Jackson County, there's a 7-year-old like my daughter, or a 12-year-old like my son. They don't know we're here today, but they're going to walk through these halls at one point in the future, and they're going to then get a job in a career in an industry that they love, and they're going to change their family's trajectory, and that's really why we're here today, doing that for them. I want to thank others who have been a part of this as well. There are wonderful things happening across TBR. Just last week we spoke to our board about the work that Dr. West and her colleagues are doing across the state to improve graduation rates and student success, high quality jobs throughout the state in partnership with folks at ECD. It is wonderful to have folks who believe in the mission along with us. And I want to thank you all for being here today, and thanks to our partners.
So now I want to tell the second part of the story, because there is actually 2 parts to this story today. Many of you watch movies and we hear about someone going to dinner or to have coffee and they take and write their ideas on a napkin. And then that napkin becomes a vision, and then it becomes something world known. Well, that's kind of how this all started back before the enhancement grant. So I have to say this precedes that. And as an educator, one of our missions, Dr. Deaton, I think if Dr. Chancellor was here today, was that we were not supposed to say no. We're supposed to say, yes, we can do that. Well, I didn't quite do that. And some of you in the room know I'm pretty good to say yes, but occasionally I have to say, I don't know if I can do that. And so this story unfolds at the Mexican restaurant one day with Jonathan West over chips and salsa. And Jonathan had called as an employer, and he said, Mara, I need to talk to you about a need we have. And I said, okay, Jonathan, let's have lunch. So we went, and Jonathan started telling me about the need for lineman training, and that how all of our local cooperatives in Middle Tennessee and even across the state, both in electric and communications, have to travel outside of the state of Tennessee to get training. It was expensive for our citizens. It was expensive for our employers. I did not know anything about linemen. Let me tell you, I mean absolutely nothing. But Jonathan told me what the need was. He even told me about the school. He said, you need to check it out. And I said, I think Jonathan was, I'll look into it, but I just don't know if I can do that. I have a field where I can put poles, but I don't have a classroom, and I'm just going to have to see. So is there anything else? And so then we moved on to about IT and about the need for training. And eventually in the Upper Cumberland, through the Highlands, we've developed an IT pathway. But Jonathan very early on identified some needs that the Upper Cumberland had in the workforce. And we were able to address the IT needs on the main campus, but to be able to bring that program here in Jackson County is wonderful. But I can't say enough about, if you want a project to be successful, the one key player that you have to have at the table for workforce development is the employer. You have to have the employers at the table so that we as educators can know what we need to be doing to fulfill those gaps. And Jonathan is just an outstanding leader across our region in helping us do that. So it is an honor for me to introduce to you another partner, the Executive Director for Twin Lakes Telephone Cooperative, Mr. Jonathan West.
Well, thank you, Myra, for that warm introduction and a history lesson on maybe how we got here in some regards. But it truly is a great day for Jackson County. And I'm honored to be here today representing the employers that will make use of this facility as we grow our businesses and further develop our workforce. As everyone in here knows, having a well-trained workforce is the key to making a business grow, succeed, and thrive. And investing in the continuing education of our workforce makes all the difference. And I am confident that having this center here in Jackson County will help many individuals and many companies succeed. For the past several years, I've served as the chairman of the Highlands Economic Partnership on the side, kind of in addition to the day job. And if it's taught me one thing, and only one thing, it's that workforce development and economic development go hand in hand. One cannot be accomplished without the other, and one cannot be sustained without the other. So, you know, at Twin Lakes, we've been blessed for 67 years with economic success, and that success is built on a skilled workforce that tirelessly serves our customers day in and day out. And so customer satisfaction is very important to us. What we do is we build a gigabit fiber network to the homes throughout the Upper Cumberland region, and those connections enable a lot of things. But that construction is just now started, and the maintenance of that fiber network will continue for many years. And to enable that to be a success in the long run, we need future employees. Those employees will come from these two programs. And so we're delighted. I think, you know, a lot of people will benefit from this, but Twin Lakes specifically will get to see a benefit from both programs in the very near future. The IT program will help us fill a need for tech support jobs and to enhance the skill sets of our existing employees. We started with the help of TCAT, another story that I don't know if it started at the Mexican restaurant or at the TCAT Center itself, but working with Joel and working with Myra, we had an idea to start beginning to move our tech support services in-house. So no longer using out-of-state, out-of-region people to provide tech support to our customers. And TCAT has helped us fill that void. We just started that in the past year. Our intention is to grow that and to expand that and to give some of those students that are in the blue shirts in the back an opportunity to get on-the-job experience and to support our valued customers. And so we're looking forward to the opportunities that are presented for them. The lineman course will ensure that telecom companies like ours and electric cooperatives all across the state will have a pool of trained individuals to provide the services that all of us depend on each and every day. And my hope is that by having this facility here, future linemen that, as Myra was referencing, they're traveling to Georgia and to Kentucky and all over the southeast United States today to get that training. Now they can get that training right here at a much more affordable rate. I mean, as most of you all know, there are a lot of people in this county and the surrounding counties that are really challenged to say, I'm going to take off work for 13 weeks, pay $10,000 or $12,000 to enroll in a lineman school, and I'm going to be out of state. And I'll see my kids in 4 or 5 months. That's a hard thing for a lot of people to do. So I think this center here today, because of the vision of so many, will enable a lot of people that have never had that opportunity to have that opportunity. And I believe that creating opportunity and giving hope to our young people is some of the greatest accomplishments that we could ever achieve. And I'd like to thank all the people behind me and all the people that are here today for help making it possible. I especially want to thank Dr. Myra West for listening to the challenges that we faced and formulating a solution, seeking out partners, and seeing this project through to completion. And I want to thank Joe Barlow. As Representative Wendell alluded to, Joe has dedicated a great deal of his life for decades to ensuring that students in Jackson County had a good education. And I want to thank him specifically on this project for that persistence in finding a way to get it done, even when it seemed like the obstacles were insurmountable. Joe found a way. That's what he does. So thank you very much, Joe. And in conclusion, I just want to say, as I look at this whole project and I think about Joe and Myra and so many others that have worked tirelessly to make this happen, I think of a quote from Thomas Edison, and I think it embodies what both of them and many other individuals here today represent. And Thomas Edison said, "Opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work." And I think these two can embody that, and because of the efforts that they put forth over the last 2 or 3 years, Jackson County's got something today that they can be very proud of today and very proud of for many years to come. So thank you on behalf of the employers.
Thank you, Jonathan. So our next guest is our county mayor, but before I introduce Mayor Hetty, I want to go back to another conversation with Jonathan, and I think it's very appropriate to introduce the county partnership. Part of ECD, and I think the ECD team will agree, that many times when companies are looking in counties to locate, counties make promises, and that's what it is. It's a promise. I promise, or I can tell you we'll have a workforce, and we'll have that. And Jonathan and I were standing in the hallway, and Jonathan said, "We're not saying to companies and to people that we promise. We've made the commitment in Jackson County. We've put a facility here. We're going to have the trained workforce. And when we're looking for new companies to locate, we're going to be able to say, we have the workforce already here." So I want to commend the county commissioners and the school boards, Mayor Hetty, Mark, and the chairman of the school board, Joe Barlow, for not just promising, but for committing, and that's huge. So it's my honor to introduce to you your county mayor, Randy Hetty.
Thank you, Ms. Myra. And we do have, I need to be, do due diligence here and recognize our county commissioners. I can't do anything without the commission. So if you're a county commissioner, will you raise your hand? I know there's a few of them here. I got 2, 3, 4. Thank you. Also the city mayor, Lloyd Williams, Gainesboro City Mayor, he's here. And thank you for being here, Lloyd. I appreciate that. It means a lot. It's hot. I always like to make people laugh a little bit. I know it's a serious thing, but it is hot. So I'm glad to get to stay and get some breeze. My part of this is the grant part, and I'm excited. Aren't you excited? I mean, Jackson County has its own satellite TCAT campus. I got some people I need to thank. You're just going to have to bear with me. It's going to take a minute, but it's important. I do want to thank Commissioner Roth and his team, the ECD team, just because for what they're doing for Jackson County. Look, here's what I hear. I go to meetings everywhere. And here's what I hear. We're for rural counties. We're for rural Jackson County. Well, it's glad to see. I'm glad to see that they're putting their money where their mouth was. They came through for us. Amen? They did. They came through for us. And they gave us this opportunity. And look, I'm new at this, but I thank them for the team. This all started in December the 6th, 2017, when they had, and I'll have to read it because it's a big, long statement, Jackson County Asset-Based Planning Initiative. Okay, we met down at the City Hall, and a group of people, a lot of you are here today, and we talked about the assets that we had in the county and named every one of them. We talked about what we could do and implementing and getting things started, and that's the day that we heard about a possible TCAT building. Mr. Joe Barlow, our director, he mentioned, hey, I have talked to the director of Livingston TCAT, and we are looking at putting a satellite campus here. And that generated so much excitement that day. People got excited about what that could do for us. Then I was appointed at a March meeting. Mr. Barlow let the commission know at a county commission meeting that they had acquired the property and that hopefully they would be soon to be developing a satellite campus for us. And then I was appointed in April after the passing of our late mayor, James Kennard. And in April, I got to thank Miss Allison Fox of the Development District. She's here, the DD. But about 2 weeks into me being in the office, and my head was spinning. And I didn't know which way was up, down, left, or right. She comes into the office one day, sits down, and introduces herself and says, hey, there is an asset-based enhancement grant. I got that right. And she says, you're eligible for $50,000. And I said, okay. And she had me pull it up on the computer. We went down all the points that you could get the grant for, one at a time. She explained them. She patiently did this. And I said, there's nothing there. She said, okay. And I said, I'm not the kind of guy that's going to apply for a grant when he don't have anything to do with the money. I'm just not going to do it. And she said, well, would you care to go through it one more time? And so we started down the list one more time, and here's this word TCAT. And I said, well, hey, it just hit me what Mr. Barlow had said. They had purchased the property. They was wanting to team up. And I told her the story. I said, do you think we could use the money? She said, I think there's a possibility that we could get this grant for the new TCAT building. I called Mr. Barlow, and the man that he is, I called Joe, and I said, Mr. Barlow, Joe, I said, we've got an opportunity to get a $50,000 grant to help with the new TCAT building. I said, what do you think? He said, yes, we can absolutely use your money. All of you know Joe, know that is Joe. And I said, well, I'm not sure what to do, and I was telling the truth. And I said, Miss Allison Fox has been in my office. She's going to do some homework. Her and Miss Myra got together. The next thing I know, they had a grant application on my desk, and the county commission, I appreciate you. They had no problem. They were behind this, and we applied and got the grant. There's so many people that need to be thanked. Joe, I thank you for the vision. I appreciate it. You had this vision. This came from you, not from me, but you had to have the vision that we needed this TCAT. You had to have the vision that it could be put in place, and I appreciate that. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for doing that for us, okay? Miss Myra, I thank Miss Myra for putting it together. Even though Joe had the vision, somebody had to put it together, and she was able to put it together. She's been awesome to work with, fantastic. Joe told me she'll be fantastic. Miss Allison said, Myra's going to head this up. They tell me she's going to do an awesome job, and she has done an awesome job. And because the grant went through the development district, and but Miss Myra has took care of everything. Everybody's been so good to work with, and I'm just thrilled. I'm excited. I said I was excited. I'll finish here, but I am excited. And here's why I'm excited. I'm excited that our kids and our adults are going to have an opportunity to get an education in IT right here. We have all of our lives went out of the county. All of us, and to get post-secondary education. And today is the start of a great thing. Our kids getting it right. We got high school students getting educated right now. That's big to me. Workforce development. Those of you that are in the workforce development, I go to these meetings, Miss Lillian, and all these. We need workforce development. That is a huge, huge lack that we have, and we need that. This is being proactive, not reactive. We're developing our workforce, so I'm excited. As a mayor, I'll say this. I'm super excited at the economic impact it's going to make on Jackson County. Hey, it's going to give us an opportunity to recruit industry that we wouldn't be able to recruit in before this. And in recruiting industry here that we couldn't recruit before means that we're going to have more families to stay at home. And that's important. Our kids need to stay at home. I'd like for them to stay at home. Also, it's going to give us an opportunity to bring people into the county, which anytime people comes to Jackson County, they spend money in Jackson County. And that's an impact economically right here in our county. So I'm so excited today. Thank you, Commissioner Roth. I appreciate you and the team and everybody that's had a hand in this. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Mayor Hetty. Well, I think our next guest doesn't really need an introduction. You've heard a lot of us talk about Mr. Joe Barlow, and he's a dear friend of mine. I know he is to many of you. But the one thing that I want to tell you, that out of all of my career as an educator, I have been at many meetings with Joe and had lots of conversations. And the one theme that always comes out of our conversation, and he said to me numerous times, Myra, I want my kids in Jackson County to have the same opportunity as any other student in the state of Tennessee. And let me tell you, he has worked tirelessly. He has devoted his life to making sure that not only the students at Jackson County, but the citizens in Jackson County have that opportunity right here in Jackson County. So Joe, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hi, Miss Jones. You know, I've already gotten in trouble up here before we started with my friends behind me, because I came up and scouted out where the breeze was going to be. They got on the that's just smart, you know, that could be time. I want to thank all of you for coming out. It's been said, this obviously is an historic evening for morning, whatever you want to refer to it at this point in time. I don't know what time it is. But it's an historical, huge day for Jackson County schools, the community at large. You know, and I think that some of the things that's going to take place in the building behind me will not just be here. And when I say community, I'm thinking the region. You know, this will be far-reaching, and I'm very proud of that. And I look out into the audits, and I see many friends, many people that we've worked hard with over the years. I see my chairman. I know that we have if you're a board member, I know Mr. Marty's here somewhere. If you're a school board member, I'd ask that you stand, be recognized. You played a huge role in this. You know, Dr. West, I recall I called it throwing the seed out to see if it would grow. And hey man, it took off overnight. It was the top of the bean sticks by morning. And that was about 9.5 months ago, which I recall. I've kind of been passing, the conversation was, you know, maybe we could look at a TCAT satellite campus in Jackson County, because I was exiting a meeting that was hosted by Dr. West and Deb Whitaker and myself from Jackson County, and exiting that meeting, Dr. West says, Joe, is there anything that we can do to help? We'd already had some partnership, and TCAT Livingston sending down some teachers, and we're doing a few courses at the high school. And I said, well, hey, it'd be awesome if we had a kind of a satellite campus there in Jackson County. That'd just, you know, that'd kind of be the big deal. Well, then a phone call or so later, and you know, I really feel this way. I think she thought, well, I'll just tell him, yeah, we'll look at that, and that'll be it. Well, I wasn't going to let it lay there. And then I guess I just hounded her. You know, it's kind of like going for a job interview. If you just keep going, you keep going. Then they think, well, we'll maybe hire this guy to get him shut up. So I was persistent, I'll put. That's the professional way to put it. So I was persistent with her, and it became that, well, we have to have, as she said, we have to have a building. Now, the good Lord, I think, had a hand in this as well, because about that time I thought, well, hey, maybe she's really serious about this. And where are we going to find a building? And we did look, and I solicited Dr. Myers to help, and they went and looked, and we looked, and it just wasn't, we couldn't find anything. well, then the opportunity of purchasing this property came. And, you know, I had no idea too much prior to that the opportunity of purchasing this property was going to exist. I felt like that once that we got started with it, that the Board of Education, when I presented it to them, if I presented it to them in the way that it needed to be for the benefit of our kids and for the benefit of our community and county as a whole, that they would take a serious look at it. And, you know, I'm very thankful that the Board of Education was financially able, no burden to nobody, and their wisdom and foresight for what this could bring to our kids, they purchased. So you talk about a phone call. As soon as that was, I may have called as soon as that board meeting was over and said, Myra, I got it. And it moved forward, and as has been well said here. And then I just kind of stood out of the way and handed it to Myra, and I'm telling you, man, an old farmer would say she's the mule that could pull the plow. But you just kind of get out of the way and let it go, and it's going to happen. And I'd keep saying, are you sure you don't want me to do something? You sure you don't want me to do something? But, and it's come forward and come to be, and I do believe that it'll be a huge opportunity. And I want to thank all of these people up here. I see some of our partners, our Highland partners, Lillian, President Bell, Lillian Hartgrove is the chair of the state board. That partnership has been big to Jackson County and has helped drive this as well. And I want to thank you for it. Personally, I want to thank you for it. Mayor Williams, I thank you for your leadership here in the city. And I say all of this to many of you, the county commissioners, school system, people that are here. You know, this can't be the end of it. This is just a start. This is just a start for it. You know, I dare say that it's been about 9.5 months ago. Now I'm going to tell the charge that about the only one that I said was, now, Dr. West, this has to happen before the end of October because I am retiring the end of October. This has to, so I put a little pressure. I did. I'm not have to say I did, and very much did she live up to it. As obviously you can see. I mentioned this earlier to her, and I'm going to hush because I could stand up here and ramble forever. But I want us to again thank her people and those guys back there. Because this facility, I mean, it was a clubhouse. And those of you that have ever been into it, this was a clubhouse that was run down, and I mean, it hadn't had anybody in it clubhousing for a while, okay? It would have been awesome had we had taken a video of the facility then to now as to what it is. So if you haven't had the opportunity to go in and look at that facility, do so. Because it's awesome. It's awesome, and I'd like to recognize those guys and give them a big hand again. You know, I usually prepare stuff, and I probably never really look at it. So I am going to look at this just for a few minutes because folks that sometimes we take for granted just because they're there and have been for quite some time. I think every leader, for whatever they're leading, has to have a strong person beside of them. And I have one, and have had one for my entire time as the director, and that's my curriculum supervisor. And back early, Miss Karen Holder, she served with us. In her passing then, I moved Miss Deb Whitaker there. And Deb, I appreciate your support of me over the years and help greatly. You've been a big part of this. Our business partners throughout the county, throughout the region, as far as that goes, that support us in many endeavors, not just this, many endeavors to make this kind of thing come so true for our young people, but our community as a whole. I want to say thanks to those. Special thank you to our state representative, And personal point, Mr. Wendell, I thank you for being my friend for this many years. This endeavor obviously is kind of the crown on the old guy's hat as he's going out. I want to thank you for your support for this, not just for this, but for the many things that you support the school system for and with, and will continue to do so, but the community as a whole. Folks, we have a great state representative, I'm telling you that. He does a great job for us, and I commend you and hope for you many more years, my friend. But as has been said, and I told you that, and I don't want to refer to you as an old mule, okay, Myra? But I'm telling you, if you want something done, hand it to her and she'll get it. She'll take care of it. And from the students of Jackson County and from the citizens of Jackson County, Dr. West, I want to say thank you. Thank you for all that you've done and all that I hope that you continue to do. We owe you a great deal. Now, I said I was going to hush, and this is the last one. Ms. Brown, Mr. Mayor, you know, I'm going to hand you historic, first ever higher ed campus in the history of Jackson County. Jackson County has a long, rich history. And I think moving forward, and you know, I used the old mule pulling the plow, so I'm going to stick to that. That if you cultivate this like any crop, it will bear fruits. I challenge to you to cultivate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Just one more guest that I want to call to the podium, and Jackson County has been a great partner for TCAT Livingston. They're dear friends, but and we consider ourselves a Jackson Countyan, if that's the correct term, but we consider ourselves part of this community, and we want to be part of this community. And from day one, when Joe asked me to bring dual enrollment classes to Jackson County, Miss Christy Barlow was right there at the forefront helping me make those schedules happen. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say this, Joe. She did. Now, she was the one that put all those, did I give you the wrong name? Oh, I'm sorry, Christy Brown, Mr. Brown, I am so sorry. So sorry. So I've had my one major mess up today. You never should be at the podium, but Miss Christy Brown, and Miss Brown, I am so sorry. I know she loves you. But Christy spent with me many a days trying to figure out scheduling. And I can tell you that there are some directors of schools here, and they can tell you that sometimes that is a challenge to figure out how to make the dual enrollment part of it. And we have some great directors of schools, some CTE directors, curriculum instructors across our region that's made that happen. But I do want to turn the program over to Miss Christy Brown for a very special presentation.
Okay, I'm not quite as experienced as these guys, these big speeches, but I want to say thank you so much for organizing this event and working with us. I want to thank all of you guys in the community and all of you guys up here for supporting this. And I want to tell you, Mr. Barlow, I accept your challenge. And I'll tell you why. I think that I know it won't be easy, but I'm ready for it, because you students sitting back there, I want to tell you this. We are here for you. All of these people up here talking and the economic development and all these things we're talking about, this is for you. And my commitment to you and all the other students out there in that building and all the little ones coming through, that we want you all to be the most sought after workforce anywhere in Tennessee, anywhere around. I also want to acknowledge the teachers, the staff, the administrators, the other administrators at the other schools that have supported us so much on this project and seeing this through. A lot of them are here today supporting it, so I appreciate that. So I accept your challenge, Mr. Barlow, and as I transition to my new role as Jackson County Director of Schools, that's exciting for me, the members of the Board of Education and I will continue to work with all of you that are here today, the administrators, the hardworking school teachers and staff, to build on your vision, to provide opportunities for our students, which will grow economic development here in this county. Therefore, it's only appropriate that the board voted to name this building the Joe D. Barlow Workforce Development Building in your honor. Thank you for always keeping our students at the heart of everything that you do. And his mentorship with me, and I work pretty closely as I transition through, he's always said, you're not going to please everybody, but you're going to be able to sleep well at night if everything that you do is based on what's good for the kids. And I believe that. I believe that he means that, and I look forward to carrying on with that. It's great advice, and I think it'll guide all of my decisions as well. So I look forward to working with all of you all and developing relationships with all of you up here, and to see through your vision. Hopefully, this is just the beginning of great things to come for all of our students and for our county. At this time, Mr. Barlow, I'd like you to come here and join me. I'd like to present this plaque, the dedication plaque, to commemorate this occasion. It'll be permanently placed in the building for everybody to see. It's in your honor. So at this time, I'd like to thank again Dr. Myra West. Thank you for everything. I'll turn it back over to her. Thank you all. Look forward to working with every single one of you.
Joe wants to say something else, but before he does, I'm going to close pretty much. So I am going to let him have just a minute back at the mic because I think this is his campus. So, but before we close, it's only fitting, as he said, that we recognize a few more people in the audience and thank them. And so some of them we've already recognized, but I do want to go down my list just to make sure. Again, Logan, thank you for your assistance. And Allison, you were at the top of my list. It wouldn't have been possible without your help, the two of you. We also have another person in the audience, Miss Kathy Barber. Where's Kathy? Kathy is from UT. She facilitated and helped. Kathy's back here. Her team facilitated the asset planning. They've been back down here along with Sam Thomas over here. They put together great videos. They've interviewed, but to help promote this and to show this as a model project. So thank you to them. Is the road commissioner Commissioner Anderson in here? I don't think he is, but I do want to recognize him. Late on Wednesday evening, and you know you have good friends when you can call late in the afternoon and say, I need something, and they get it done the next day, and he did. We needed a little bit of gravel and some things done, and he said, I'll have it there for you in the morning. And so I just want to say thank you to him because he made a special effort. I couldn't have done today and all the planning without my dear friend Angela up here. She's been right beside my side for the last 3 or 4 days helping me. And along with her, my other winning partner for the last few days, Mr. Sean Monday with our Department of Labor. He's our regional director. And Sean and Angela and I have just been the team together, and I appreciate them so much and all they do for us. And again, to our building construction class, guys, you all rock it. You've made it great. I just love it. To Jonathan and Twin Lakes has just been great. They helped us get the technology in. They got a gig speed into our building. One day he came in, we didn't have it. The next day we did. You can't ask for any better service than that. That's customer service. I mean, he made it happen. And then last, the group that was here early this morning, because if you had been here about 5:30 this morning, the only thing on this area was this white tent. So the group that is my rock solid group that's always there, they started getting here at 5:30 this morning, and they worked all the way up until 10 o'clock with blue jeans and sweat pouring, and it was hot. And I just want to thank Ronnie Smith and Mike Barlow, Joel Chappell, Teresa Johnson, Stacy McFall, Sarah Robbins, Rebecca Clayton, Miss Sandra Crouch, and all of the rest of the TCAT staff that had a part in this today. They made this happen, and we couldn't do it without our team. So thank you all so much. And so I'll let Mr. Barlow close the ceremony with his last comments, but I want to thank all of you for being here today and for celebrating with us. And as soon as Mr. Barlow is finished with his comments, we're going to have a ribbon cutting right behind us, and we're going to take a few photos. But out to my right, far right, by the Twin Lakes bucket truck for our lineman school, you will see that we have lunch prepared. Please go have lunch. We have tables in the back, and we want you to stay, but we also want you to go through our building and see our program. So, Mr. Barlow, I'll let you close.
Just very, very briefly, there's a group of people that have come a long way from several points of the region to be with us that mean a great deal to me. Now, all of you mean a great deal to me. Obviously, I have my sisters here, and I appreciate you coming to sharing this occasion. But my colleagues, or past colleagues, still colleagues, once a colleague, always a colleague. I have the director of school from Putnam County, director of school from Bledsoe County, director of school from Van Buren County, director of school from Pickett County, director of school was from White County. That's huge to me. I want you to know that, and that's why I said I've got to get back to the podium, because I want them to know how important it is for me to see you here. That means a great deal to me. We've worked together a long time, many of us. I guess I'm the senior of you, but to have worked with a quality of people, and as we work together, you know, we try to work what's a need and a want and a desire for Cherry Board and Putnam County, then becomes a need and desire for all of us, because we as a study council, we try our very best to pitch in to see that happen, and likewise for all of us. So I want the crowd to know how special you are to me. You know, I have one more meeting with you. You know, some of this group, I've been around long enough. I've gotten another big sister with me. And, you know, across the state we go to meetings, and many times the director of Pickett County will let me know, and they're saying, well, where's your brother at? Referring to me as her brother. And likewise, they'll refer to, well, where's your sister at, when I go to the meetings. And so that's very special to me, and that's something I'll carry from now on. You know, now I've said this, shared this in some radio interviews recently. We directors, we kind of, many times we're a lonely group. We're kind of like coaches. Things go well, other people get credit. You win ball games, your players get and share the credit as a coach. As a director, you have good scores, you have good graduation rates, and all of those many accountable things that the state now, in its wisdom, holds us accountable for. That's results of your school administrators and your teachers. Many times when those are a little bit on the negative side, then that falls on the director of school's shoulders. That's part of the game. That's just part of being who we are. You're special to me, and I wanted you to know that. Dr. West, thank you for the extra time.
Thank you, Joe. And so This will conclude our ceremony. We are going to take pictures and then we'll have lunch. But before we go to lunch, I think it's just appropriate that we bless the food. So if you would bow with me at this time. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this beautiful day and for the celebration, for all of the leaders, the teachers, the administrators, our partners throughout our state for being here today and to be able to celebrate this. We just ask your blessings on this facility and for all the things to come. Bless the students and bless this food to the nourishment of our body, that we will be to your service and to your glory. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Everybody get in. Okay, everybody's let's go this way. So, Russ and Johnson, some of y'all come on this end. Okay, okay, look at all of these cameras. Let's smile. Who's going to be the one? One, two. Just look in the middle. Okay, everybody ready? Everybody got it still?
1, 2, 3.
Okay. Logan, do it one more time and tell us to cut on 3.